Hello and welcome to our patch guide for update 17.0. We have got quite a few topics to touch on this time. Update 17.0 is a very big patch. If you would prefer to read this rather than listen to me speak for however long this video is going to be, there is a link to the text version of the guide in the description below. And if you find this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. With that said, let's get going. So we'll start with the biggest headline feature, which is the artifact blueprints. These were hinted at earlier in the year on the Tamis video. He mentioned there'd be some special items coming, and now we know. So artifact blueprints, they come in two forms at the moment. There's lesser artifacts, which are tier 8 and 9, or there's greater artifacts, which are tier 14. They're stronger and more viable than the other blueprints of that tier. They all require a unique component to be crafted, and they all have a cool effect which you won't find anywhere else, and the hero can only have one of them equipped at any one time. So we'll take a look at one now. So we're going to take a look at the Arm of Invincibility here. So as you can see, quite a cool looking scroll first of all. So first glance, it's your standard kind of crafting materials with the exception of its unique component. The milestones, the ascensions, business as usual. If you look at the stats though, you can see that's quite a heavy jump in stats compared to other heavy armor items. If we compare it, for example, compared to the Cursed King plate that came out a few weeks ago, the Cursed King was 615 defense, 154 attack. The Arm of Invincibility, on the other hand, 680 defense, which is a huge jump for a defensive piece. 42 health. This little glowy button you see here, if you tap on it, it'll tell you what the artifact's effect is. In this case, it cannot break, which, okay, I realise doesn't sound super exciting. It's like, ooh, it's one item that cannot break, but very useful if you're low on repair kits, if you're not a royal merchant. This is a piece of gear you can invest in for your tanks that's basically going to last this entire tier. Probably last most of tier 15 as well, depending on how much the stats inflate between the tiers. And it's safe. It's like, yes, okay, I can afford to spend my money on this because it's never going to break on me. If we go look at the other artifacts, and at the same time we'll cover where they come from. These blueprints come from the new artifact chests. Now, you don't have to worry about acquiring these chests. Literally, as soon as you update, you will have them in limited amount. But minor artifacts and major artifacts. The minor artifacts are tier 8 to tier 9. The major artifacts are tier 14. So if we look on the minor artifact chest a moment, we've got the Pickaxe of Greed, which deals times 2 damage against Gurnals and key bearers. We've got Grimar's Collection, which is worth 5 times the collection value than normal tier 8s are. We've got the Lone Wolf Car, 40% boost to attack and defense, but you don't get the benefit from champion skills. This is going to be very fun on things like the enduring Praetorian setup. So you know the set where he's in the 4 Praetorians. This will be amazing because they won't run with a champion. And if you look at the other major artifacts, as you've seen now, the Arm of Invincibility, we've also got Book of Peace here, which gives you extra help and evasion, but you don't get the benefits from your weapon slot. Fantastic for Grandmasters and Praetorians, so if you don't run the other item for Praetorians, this is a good alternative. And we've got a sword, which gives you 200% extra crit, but your crit chance will always be 20%. Very nice for Samurai. Honestly, I think the only use case for it is Samurai. So, as you probably saw when we were flicking through these, each of them has their own unique components. They either come from these chests, or you can get them as drops in the different quests. The minor artifacts can drop in Sunken Temple, Haunted Castle, and Crown's Ruins. If I just bring it up a second, give me a moment. So those drop chances were provided to us by Kabam. From what I've tested, they do line up. So it's changes based on difficulty, but it's uniform. So you probably want to be running on medium. Extreme to medium, it's only a 5% jump, so unless you're farming extreme now, don't pressure yourself to go there. Farming on medium is just fine. And then we've also got drop chances for the boss. Just bring that up a second. Now the bosses, it does matter more. On extreme is guaranteed to drop artifact components. I don't know the drop amounts for the other bosses. That wasn't information we were given, and I've not really had the time to sort it out. I'm afraid to test it myself. But we can just run a quick data gathering project on our Discord. Shouldn't take us too long. Now, as for getting the keys to open these, I'm afraid you won't be starting with 10,000 keys like we have here. That was just for testing purposes. You get a key for the minor chest when you reach level 45. You get a key for the major chest at level 65. And they'll sometimes be given through events. So probably look at the reward tracks, things like LCOG, Tower of Terror, things like that. Although you have probably also noticed you can gem unlock them. The major artifact chest, 1000 gem for 500 gem unlock it. Minor artifact chest, 550. Okay, moving on, let's look at enchants now. Yes, that was a bit of a surprise to the jump. Sorry, there's no way I could do this one all in one take like the other videos. We've got tier 14 enchants now. There are 6 new elements and 6 new spirits. They require 200 research scrolls to unlock. That applies to the spirits as well. And they all give the same amount of gold, which is 4 million. As you can see, they give plus 35 element score. If it's a matching affinity, they give plus 45, which makes it very, very, very easy to reach the 170 needed for ranks 4 skills, or 180 needed for innates for T7 classes. Which is good, because that means the classes that have very bad affinity options right now, so we're talking Archmages, we're talking Praetorians, they can finally feed themselves. They can go, yes, we can run good items, don't have to worry about running this vanilla T12 item. I'm free. They have raised the barrier on Elysium to compensate for this, but I don't have the finalized figure, because right now, as I speak to you as I'm recording this, it's 200, but I pointed out that's a bit too low, because you could literally reach 200 without any affinity pieces whatsoever. At that point, why even bother having a barrier? So it has been increased. We'll find out together when the patch goes live, but it's been increased too. Although that does mean we can largely ignore affinity gear for the moment, Geomancers, if you remember, still get a bonus from their innate for element score, so they'll still be wanting to look for water affinity, and affinity matching still gives a bigger stat bonus, so don't rule it out entirely, it's just not as pressing as it currently is with tier 12. If we look at the spirits now, before you get panicky thinking, wow, that's free to cost iron and steel, this was brought to their attention, and they are, I believe, going to shift it a little bit, so it should be rebalanced, because that would suck otherwise. We'll take a look at the spirit effects together quickly, because that's the most exciting part of an enchant update. So we've got plus 50 health and plus 3% health, plus 13% attack, plus 5% defense. We'll touch on the Titan Spirit in a moment, because we'll see in a moment. We've got plus 10% defense, plus 4 HP regen per turn, plus 8% attack, plus 3% crit hit chance, and plus 8% defense, plus 3% evasion. So the reason I skipped the Titan Spirit is because it's slightly different for a spirit. We've got so it says plus 15% health, which obviously that's pretty strong. What's missing from this is actually 2 strings of text missing, which we have been told, and hopefully by the time this goes live they'll be here. The first rule is you can only have 1 of these on a hero. You're not allowed to have 6 of these on a tank or something, I'm afraid, because that would be pretty nuts. Like, the amount of health you would gain would be incredible. And they can also only be applied to a class that's been Titan sold, so you have to have promoted them to be able to use this spirit. Now, that doesn't actually work right now. Currently, there is nothing stopping me. I tested it, I showed them on a Lord, said, look, I've got 3 of these to equip right now, they're all clearly working. Hopefully that'll also be fixed. You can see they also require a new runestone type, the Supreme Runestone, which also means we've got the Supreme Runestone. Really nothing unexpected there. 300 research goals to unlock each of the 2 new stones. They've also now extended the ascension tracks for the stones and enchants, because they were missed when the tracks were extended last time, as there wasn't anything to really extend them for. So if we look at the extended stone track, we've now got at 27, it's another 1% global increase for surcharge value, and at max 30 we've got 2% increased essence production. That'll be pretty easy to hit, probably going to be the first one for everyone to get if you own Munger and the Scholar anyways. And then for elements and spirits, it's the same for both of them, so we'll show you the one. We've got increased essence production, and we've got reduced essence costs for crafting elements and spirits. kind of wish that last one was a bit bigger. I feel -1 isn't, considering how many charges I've required. -1 feels a bit low, but that's Kabam for you. Also, then moving on to our next topic. See, I remembered to actually mention we're going to be changing. I'll look at furniture levels. So all furniture can now go to level 25, which costs quite a lot to do. We'll show the cost in a moment. They keep their effects that they gained from level 16. So if we look at a max level here, Essence Beacon, you can see it gives 10% regen now. Because obviously level 20 gave 5%, so it gained an extra 1% per level. The same applies to the counters, to the other resource bins. So the counter at level 25 will give plus 10% max energy instead of plus 5%. That's probably going to be a priority for nearly everyone. If I just bring up their cost a second, as you can see, they didn't exactly make it cheap, especially when it comes to the essence bins. They're like, yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it really expensive. But as I see, is that counter is the main priority. Then after that, trunks, I guess, your own capacity issues. If I start whacking up your resource bins, still no new feature for racks. I'm afraid they're still just plus energy. They gain plus 12 energy per go, so nothing new or anything there, I'm afraid. Okay, let's talk about a feature now which for the huge majority of us not really relevant right now, but there are a couple of people. There are a couple, and there'll be more over time, and that is merchant level looping. There's now a new level. After you get to 99, you get level 100. Yep, they thought, you know what, we'll round it up nicely. Which also means there is another talent point you can get now, which most of us say is going to be a gem-only job, let's be real. And then after that, if you level up again, your level goes back down to 1, and you go through again. You don't lose any of your unlocks or anything. You get a little fancy banner, as you can see here. So when you hit level 100, you'll get a nice little pop-up, which I'll show you now. See here, I've got level loops, which explains it. So every time I level up now, apart from just getting the obligatory 5 gems, I also get 10 ascension shards. And you can do this 4 times, so the level cap is 500. It takes 25% more experience every time, so I'll be looking at years before anyone hits 500 unless Kabam had some like really good ways for getting XP, or they screw up at some point and accidentally like release an item that gives like way more than it should have, or they lower the boundaries or whatever. But you know, it's nice that they future-proofed it. It's literally just, yeah, okay. Carry on playing our game, please. We need your money. We've also got the ability to convert our shops now. We can turn the inside into outside. Yeah, there's not really a lot of space for outdoor decorations. Considering how many they release, you don't get a lot. So now you can change that. So it's here in the bottom corner. We've got a new edit shop button. You can't convert the entryway, I'm afraid. That has to stay. And you must always have your counter to be accessible. But apart from that, see here, I can say confirm, it goes, or you're going to put away all your furniture so you'll be losing energy, etc. Now it's grass. And I can just slap down decorations and stuff if I wanted. If I want to change it back, it won't remember the furniture, but it will remember the decoration, like the wallpaper and flooring, which is quite cool. In case you forget what you put on there. Okay, moving on once more, and I am sorry for how long this video has turned out to be so far. Blame Kabam for releasing such a big patch. We're going to look at the Seeds of Merit now. So this is a new type of seed, which when fed to a hero increases its max level. So if we look here, you can increase its max level up to 10 times. The new hero max level is now 50 for a hero. They can gain XP through questing once you raise their max level cap, or you can use mythic XP drinks. The only way to get these seeds at the moment is they will be on sale during the 5th anniversary sale, which starts on June 14th, but later on there will be a fusion recipe for them. We don't know much about the fusion recipe outside of it uses a new moonstone type. Everything else, sorry, we got no idea. So, speaking of the 5th anniversary, as I just mentioned the sale, they're also going to be running a login calendar from June 12th to June 18th, and the web store, which they released recently, there will be free stuff you can claim on there every day from June 14th for 5 days. And that's us nearly done. We just got a couple of minor things to touch on, and then yes, we are all free. So they've changed the ascension tracks for aura stones, dessert, instruments, and meals. This was a suggestion I put on their Discord, but maybe they already figured it out. Because when they did the extension, they'd set aura stones stuff to 100, which these lines weren't going to reach that amount for years. Like, we're talking like 5-6 years possibly, because of how rare it was for those lines to get new blueprints. Like, they didn't just future-proof it for a while, they future-proofed it forever. So we take a look at the condensed tracks a second. So we'll take a look at instruments. The instruments now caps out at 75. Aura stones with second, they cap at 69. Meals cap at 100. And desserts, oops, sorry, and desserts, try again, cap at 85. They've also nerfed the crispy roast duck, which is frankly one of the most baffling changes I've seen in the entire time I've played Shop Titan. So when this blueprint came out, it had 394 attack and defense, and that was really strong for a meal, because the volcanic hot pot, which had only been out for a couple of weeks even, 263, 394, so it was instantly basically obsoleted by the crispy roast duck. We didn't need the fire affinity. And when this blueprint came out 10 months ago, and yet for some reason this patch did on, you know what, we probably shouldn't have made it that strong. I mean, they could have done that back when it was relevant. I don't know what they're thinking here is. It's completely weird. Apart from that, only other change to mention is Fairlights can now wear amulets, which is good. It means they can wear the brand new artifact amulet. And that, I believe, is about everything. Thankfully. Again, I apologize for how long the video this was. I hope you enjoyed it. Probably want to refer to the text guide if you any bits you feel that I've skipped over, or you can feel free to ask me questions on Discord. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.